Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, we are going to be talking about how you're doing home organization wrong. I know it's the sexiest of all interior design and home topics. That was obviously sarcasm. I feel like some people don't get my sarcasm and I need like a little sarcasm meter on them. Chances are if you're in doubt, it's sarcasm, okay? That's probably how I roll. So let's work with that. But you know, listen, you might love home organization. You might be one of these people on TikTok that I see that like take all their, you know, like ice cube trays and they've got like all the different shapes of ice cubes and some have little lemon peels and some have a little orange blossom, a little roses. If that's you, this video probably isn't for you because you're so far off the deep end for home organization. There's nothing I'm going to say to you that's going to be interesting or that you haven't thought of before because you're obviously kind of a little cuckoo. That's not, this video isn't for you. I'm thinking of like practical tips for real people because I'm not particularly super organized, but I do have some things that have helped me along the way, and that's what we're shared in this video. Also, by the way, if you go and get the Interior Scoop, which is my weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday, I already covered this a couple of weeks ago, I have some additional hot tips over there, so feel free to check it out. And this video, by the way, is sponsored by my like favorite that sponsored me a million times, which I love, which is Brooklinen. So let's talk about them first. Okay, before I get to those organization tips, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, which is Brooklinen, one of my favorite brands who's sponsored me many times, who I love, who is right now having a 10-year anniversary sale. I've been partnering with Brooklinen since way back in about 2021, so almost 3 years now, which is really crazy for me, but I keep partnering with them because I genuinely love their product and well, they're products I can say I use every single day. I have to say that the linen hardcore set in cream is probably my favorite Brooklinen set. I've had the cotton and I've had the linen, and I've been completely converted to the linen. The fabric is so light and cozy and honestly gets softer with every wash. What I also love about Brooklinen is that they offer luxury sheets at a more affordable price point than you get at different retailers. You also know that you're making a smart investment when buying their sheets because they will last a long time and get softer the more you wash them, which I just love. So whether you've been a longtime Brooklinen supporter like me or this is your first time hearing about them, this is the perfect time to head over to Brooklinen to take advantage of their 10-year anniversary sale. All items are 25% off site-wide and you get up to 45% off the different bundles through May 6th. It's their biggest sale of the year, so you don't want to miss out. Thank you, Brooklinen, for sponsoring this video. And let's get back to those organization tips. Okay, first tip for you for a home organization is going to be hide countertop appliances, or honestly, put away things that you don't use on a daily basis, or at least every like 2 or 3 days. This is hard, but like sometimes, you know, when I do Roast My Space, which is another feature that I do here, I'm overdue, I need to do one of those soon, where people send in submissions of like what they want to change in their home. The number one thing that I see all the time in the kitchen is a bunch of appliances that, let's be honest, let's be real, you're not using every day. Now, I love it if you're using your Magic Bullet and you're sitting there, your Vitamix, and you got yourself a big old green smoothie every day, and you're like, oh, I drink 3 liters of green smoothie every morning before breakfast, and I don't even drink coffee. Like, if that's you, good for you. But I don't think it is, because I don't think most people are really living that way. If it is, keep it out. You use it every day, go for it. But consider hiding things that you don't use all the time. So you know what? If you use a NutriBullet once every 3 or 4 days, or that juicer that you bought that's collecting dust, maybe you don't necessarily need to put it on the countertop. Consider putting things away that you don't use on a daily basis. Keep your countertops clutter-free and only kind of restrict them to the things that you and your family use on a regular basis. So salt and pepper, that's fine. Maybe you cook with olive oil every meal, in which case, go ahead, find a ideally aesthetic place to put your little olive oil. I got this little cute one here at H&M Home because that's just me. But like, you know, find a place for you to put your things that you're gonna use on a regular basis. I think that's fine. Again, if you can make it pretty, even better, but consider just at the very base level, putting away stuff that you don't actually really use all the time. So if you're like a person who eats toast, you know, once every few days, consider putting it away. If you got your Instant Pot, you know, we all bought that. We all got it during the pandemic. If you got the air fryer, we all got that one too. I love an extremely niche, specialized kitchen countertop appliance. It's my favorite thing. I'm sorry, I will buy every single one. I got a sous vide. I got the air fryer. Like I bought an egg bite maker the other day. Why? Why did I do that? I don't even know, but I did. And like, I love these things. I love a niche appliance. but you don't need to display them because they're not particularly pretty. And honestly, it just adds to the clutter and the chaos that is already in your kitchen, you know, already. So if you see these beautiful aesthetic places and you're like, how do they do it? They do it because they put away the crap that they don't use all the time. So tip number one, look at the things that you use on a daily basis. Consider how you can store and display them. That's fine because you use them regularly, but consider hiding the rest. So if you've got, you know, maybe stuff that you use all the time, maybe it doesn't have to necessarily just apply to the kitchen. Think of what you got going on in the living room. Do you use use, you know, a candle every day because you like the scent? Go for it. Do you use things in the bedroom that you use every day? We're not going to talk about it, but let's just say you use those things on a regular basis, in which case, feel free to just, well, we're going down a different path here. I'm just gonna say a book. Maybe you read a book. Then in which case, read that book and keep it out on your display. That's fine. Even then, consider putting it away. Do you know what I mean? Like, put away the stuff that you don't use all the time. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. We're just gonna say that. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be closed storage. So this one I'm a broken record for, because you know I'm all about this. My mission to not eliminate open storage, but at least to like an open shelving, but like at least to use it for what it's, in my opinion, meant for, which is going to be to use and display things that are actually really nice. So chances are most of what you have isn't that attractive. Someone had to say it to you because your friends are not doing any favors. You know what I mean? Like, you're displaying stuff that's not particularly attractive. And again, attractive is subjective. So like, if you like it, go for it. You're like looking back and you're like, but those books are ugly. Good for you. I don't care what you think. You don't have to like my clock. I don't really care. And yes, it's always perpetually 12:18 where I live, in case you were wondering. You know, that's fine. Like, you don't have to like the things that I like, and I don't have to like the things that you like. That's fine. Like, consider the stuff that isn't really attractive to you and think of hiding it, because really open shelving is great for adding personality, for adding things that you really enjoy, that you want to show off, that you want to look at all the time, that you use all the time. Like I just mentioned C.1, you know, feel free to put that into open storage. I think that's okay. Things like cookbooks, like things like maybe you've got some Le Creuset that you really love that you're like, yes, I want to show this off. Maybe you're a Staub girly. I don't know which side of the fence you're on, but you know, pick one and then feel free to display it. Have fun with it. That's great. But you know what? You have a lot of ugly stuff. And that's okay, because I do too. Like, it's functional and we need it, and that's okay. In which case, consider hiding it behind some closed storage. I think that just really makes the place feel a lot less chaotic. It's gonna make it feel a lot more peaceful because it doesn't add to the visual clutter that's in your space. That's what it all comes down to. You know, you're gonna feel a lot better, your space is gonna feel lighter, and it's just gonna feel just a lot more zen to be in it. You're gonna enjoy living in the space. And yes, assuming that you remember all the stuff where you put it, you can access all that stuff, you know, appropriately when you need it, which is really what it's there for. So closed storage, in my opinion, as you all know, is underrated in people's homes. Okay, next up, it's going to be to create drop zones in your space for things that you, like your own habits that you already have. Because I learned this along, part of aging wisdom that I may pass on to you, as I'm sure you've all shared, is that like people don't change very much. Like we always are really looking for that path of least resistance. And so I think sometimes when people start out with an organization plan for their home, they're like, you know what, this is the new me. The old me was a pile of garbage, but the new me, oh, she and he, we just have it together. You know what? Like the new me is gonna be so good. Like Nick in the future really has it together, you guys. Nick in the present is a hot mess. Nick from the past, who cares? Nick in the future though, like he's got it going on. Like he knows what he's doing. But the reality is that the Nick from the future is gonna be the same as the Nick from the present, the same person that's sitting here on your laptop right now. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be the same person. So let's work with the behavior you already have. So good examples of this would be like when you walk in the front door, where do you put your keys? Where do you put your keys? Where do you put your wallet? We've all got the cell phone, wallet, keys, sunglasses, chapstick. Like we've all got the things that we need, right? That we require when we leave the house every single time. Consider putting that in a space, closed door ideally, but if not, you won't remember, that's okay too. You know, like find a little spot that is going to be ideally aesthetic, ideally closed, but again, if you don't, you know, you're not gonna find it because maybe you might forget where you're putting things, that's fine. You can keep it open if you need to. But ideally an aesthetic little spot where you can just put on a regular basis, work with what you've got. Don't necessarily think that the new you is gonna like put away your shoes and like you're gonna like put them in your little organization in your bedroom in your walk-in closet or something, because you wanna be that person with the super beautiful walk-in closet. If that's not you and you're like me, you just dump your shoes when you walk in the front door, then ideally section it off and have a little spot for it. So if you're the person that just sort of walks in and you just drop your coat like in the front hallway, whatever, then try to find a coat hanger that is gonna be beautiful and is gonna be functional and is going to be where you're actually gonna put your coat. Because we all like to think we're gonna be this person that's amazing and has it all together, but we're not. So just basically work with the patterns of behavior that you already have and then design the organizational solution that's going to fit that behavior. In the bedroom is another really great example, right? So if you're a person that takes off their clothes or puts on their clothes, whatever, and they just end up like throwing it on the elliptical machine or that Peloton that you're still paying the subscription for, by the way. And if you're just kind of like throwing it on the Peloton and then you're like, oh, right, like I should probably like hang it up or whatever. Well, then maybe design a solution that's gonna make sense for you. Maybe put in a really beautiful rack, maybe put in a new organization system for where you can put your clothing that is going to work with what you already do, which is throw it over something, throw it on the bed, throw it on the Peloton. Find a place where you can throw it that's actually going to keep you organized over the long term, because you like to think that you're gonna be this person who hangs up everything, but you're not. You're just not that girl. I'm sorry, I hate to be the one to tell you that, but it's time that you told yourself that and you just owned it, because that's who you are, and that's okay. Just work with what you got, not what you want to be. Okay, next on my list is gonna be to anchor your items. So there's two reasons why I think you should do that. First of all, what do I mean by anchor your items? I mean finding places where you can put trays or catch-alls or things that are going to hold several items at a time. I have these all over my place. You can probably see them in the background. Books are a really great way to do that. Trays, like I've got back here, another tray over here, things in the kitchen, things in the front hall closet. Like I have a lot of spaces where I put little trays or little books that sort of provide kind of a baseline that other things, whether it's display, whether it's something like decor, or even just something like a catch-all that's gonna keep your keys and coins and whatever, chapstick and cell phone, or all that stuff that you're gonna need, right? So it's either for organization strictly, or it could even be for displaying beautiful things in decor. And the reason is that it provides, first of all, it's aesthetically pleasing. It provides sort of a nice platform in which everything else sits. It's kind of similar for why I usually 99% of the time recommend that people get rugs. I really hate it when I walk into a place that's got engineered hardwood, concrete, vinyl plank, whatever, and there's no rug. It's like, it just feels like it's floating in space, right? And it doesn't look like it's really grounded or centered. And that's why rugs are really great, because it grounds the living room. So you have the couch, the coffee table, the side chairs, all that stuff really grounded in that one space. Same rule applies for grounding the rest of your stuff. So maybe it's in the kitchen and you've got a cookbook or your olive oil or your salt and pepper, you got all that stuff. Consider putting it, you know, aesthetically on some sort of a platter. Maybe you've got items that you use on a regular basis. Again, those keys, those things in the front whole organization kind of area. Maybe it's things in your bedroom. Maybe it's your bathroom. Maybe it's all of like the lipstick and you've got all the like, oh my gosh, all the cosmetics. If you've got all this stuff absolutely chaotically all over the place, providing sort of a catch-all that's going to help ground all those items so they're not sort of strewn all over the place. It's gonna help anchor it. It's gonna be a lot more visually beautiful. And it has the added bonus, this is the second piece, of limiting yourself, and provides that sort of base limit for what you can actually put in that space. So when you have no limit, let's say bathroom vanity, right? When you have no limit, things can get chaotic, things can get out of hand, because your mind thinks, again, path of least resistance, there's no anchor point for everything. I have all of this countertop to put all of this crap, and you will fill it. And that's why your bathroom might feel a little bit unorganized and overwhelming. Now, if you put a tray, a reasonably sized sort of tray to put things like, you know, perfume or whatever, or you've got that bathroom vanity mirrored sort of closed system in which you can put, you know, your toothpaste or your toothbrush and your flossing and your all that stuff in there, it provides a natural boundary for you to not want to necessarily kind of expand beyond that boundary. So it kind of limits how much stuff you're going to do. And then from there, the stuff that you don't use on a regular basis, C.1, you can actually store in a closed storage system. See how all these tips are working together? This is what it's really all about. It's about working with the behavior you already have, putting natural limits on how much stuff you're actually gonna put on display, storing everything you don't use every day, ideally in a closed storage system. That's where we're at. Okay, and then next up, we have to also talk about to invest in organizers. Organizers are really important. This is oftentimes whenever I do a HomeSense video or an IKEA video, I usually take some time to talk about the really unsexy things of home organizers, because I still stand by the fact that baskets and little trays and little bins are just like, they are part of the home decor world, even if people don't want it. It's not as fun as making fun of crappy art or ugly pillows. I grant you, I love that too, you know me. But the truth is that a lot of our life is just like organizing all this stuff. We all have way too much of it. Bonus tip, feel free to get rid of some stuff. But for the stuff that you do have, organize it. It's again, kind of like my previous point, it's gonna provide sort of a natural limit for you to be able to kind of like that you have the bin to work with, because if you don't have any limits through a bin or a tray, things start to overflow and they start to get really out of hand. It also becomes more aesthetically pleasing because things in bins, it just keeps you organized. It looks cohesive because you can buy the same bin, you can buy a whole organization system. Feel free to invest in different ones that IKEA makes, for example. They're really, I mean, they're kind of known for this. They're really amazing at home organization things. Cute wicker baskets are always gonna be cute. You know, plastic ones ones are fine too. Lots of different ones. If you have trouble seeing, you know, into the baskets, feel free to use something like an acrylic. You know, that can make sense for you. Ideally, you know, the aesthetic ones are the ones you're probably going to display the most and enjoy to look at the most. But if you don't really care about that because you're storing them in a closed storage system, just go for the ones that make it really easy for you to identify what you need. And that's going to really help you actually organize your life so that your home becomes a lot more functional. Because yes, in this, you know, this channel, and in interior design, we love to talk about the aesthetics because that's really fun and it's like interesting. But the truth is that so much of the nuts and bolts of living in our spaces and, you know, being in these homes that we love is keeping ourselves organized and having access to the regular stuff that we use all the time. So that's it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this one. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you, Brooklinen, again for sponsoring this video, and feel free to sign up for the Interior Scoop if you haven't already, because got some real hot tips over there, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks a lot.